least get started for them. All right, so Deila, I'll let you kind of run the show and then I'll do my spiel after that.
All right, that'll work for me. All right, am I there? I didn't know if it went weird.
No,
All
you're there.
right, well, we are here today. Our topic this month is working in the trades and stress management while being a caregiver. I am Deila Ray. I am this year's co-chair for the committee. I'm a pipe welder by trade, and I'm now a welding instructor. And so, Allie, did you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure, sure. So my name is Allie Jensen. I'm out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and my trade is concrete polishing and epoxy coatings. I'm actually transitioned from tradeswoman out in the field to business owner, all while owning my business. So I've done a little bit of everything. And but I have a lot of experience with caregiving, whether it's children or special needs adult, or even your parents, or maybe an uncle or something like that. Erica and Deila asked me to go ahead and do this presentation because of my life experiences and going through it. So I see Erica, our chair for the Tradeswomen Committee, is on now. So Erica, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry about being a little late. I'm Erica Braxton. I'm from Princeton, New Jersey, 389 chapter, and I am a union plumber, union iron worker.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So Erica, Deila, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of monitor the chat for me. So if anybody listening has any questions or comments or anything, just go ahead and type those in the chat. And if we need to, pause for a moment to address an immediate concern or question, I'm happy to do that. But we'll just kind of go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to use some slides from a presentation that I've done called Confidence Through Chaos. And really that has helped me in getting over just different facets of trying to, get through life when things are tough. So let me just, in the beginning, there we go. I have two screens here, so I'm swapping it. Okay, does everybody just see the slide now? Is that good? Okay, all right. So confidence through chaos is overcoming what life throws at us and still having, a career and a life outside of whatever is the current situation. So for me, I've experienced a lot of upheaval, I guess, if you will, throughout my career. First of all, I have 4 children, and it's a blended family. So at any given time, especially when they were all teenagers at home, that was really rough because just, being a care provider, a mom of 4 teenagers that didn't always want to follow the rules and that kind of stuff, that can be challenging. And so there's that. But I would say that my biggest challenge as a care provider in the past was when my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I live in Colorado. My 2 sisters, one lives in California, the other lives in Ohio, and my dad lived in Southwest Missouri at the time. And he did not want to move, especially relocating states, because all of his care providers, his doctors and specialists and things like that, were all located in Missouri. And so it was just a really tough time for us, and trying to navigate that as a family, and then have my own immediate family and my business to run and all those things. It was just a very, very challenging time. And so I'm going to share with you today some of the things that really helped me get through those tough times. So I'm going to share with you to stop the self-shaming, right? Like a lot of times when things get difficult, we feel and experience a lot of shame around it. And we don't want to share with other people what we're going through because we don't want to feel like we're a burden, or we don't want to you know, have people have a pity party for us or things like that. And so just stop the self-shaming, because Brene Brown says that shame leads to feelings of being trapped, powerless, and isolated. And certain triggers that are like appearance and body image, sexuality, family, motherhood, all of those things are showing that shame can occur in all aspects of our life. So not just necessarily when we're going through a trauma, but our upbringing and things like that can cause us to experience shame. So we're going to stop that. The other one is you're going to take back control. A lot of times when you're going through a hard time, you feel like life is out of control. But start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. And that's a quote from St. Francis of Assisi. And then we're going to have you build back up your self-confidence in yourself. With the realization of one's own potential and self-confidence in one's ability, one can build a better world. And that's from the Dalai Lama. So again, there's a lot of stress with work. I know everybody, especially during the summer months, everybody's plate is full. We're all overloaded. There's so many things to do, and trying to keep organized can be a challenge. We have our elderly parents, or maybe an elderly uncle or aunt or something like that, that maybe we're taking care of, and we worry about them and their health, and you know, the appointments that they have to go to, and time we have to take off work to get them to set appointments and such. You know, and then there's times where we just want to cry because there's dirty dishes on our sink, the kids are fighting, and there's all this stuff going on, and we're overloaded and overwhelmed, and it's okay. And we want to say, stop the train, stop the ride. I want to get off, right? It's like that whirly spinny thing that makes you nauseous sometimes. And you're just like, whoa, I can't take anymore. I need to take a timeout. Sometimes to deal with stress, we want to do something like this, right? We just want to scream, get it all out. Then there's other times that we just want to do this. We want to cry, right? We want to cry like a baby. And all of those things are totally okay. And give yourself permission to feel those emotions. It is okay to feel all the feels, is what I tell people. And then there's some times where we turn to substance and numbing. And, you know, again, that is okay as well, but in moderation. We have to keep that part in check, because if we're not careful, that can become the focal point instead of the challenge, right? We don't want to numb ourselves to the point where we're just out of it. But feeling isolated and feeling alone, like the girl in this picture, is what a lot of us experience when we're going through some kind of trauma, whether it's being a caregiver, being overwhelmed at work, dealing with an unruly child that's just not following the rules, and we're just, you know, at our wit's end on what is the best thing to do for that person and that is under our care. But these feelings of isolation are, when we feel like this, it's more important than ever to say, hey, I need help. You know, if it's something at work, communicate with your coworkers like, hey, I've got all this stuff going on in my personal life, and I really need some help here on the job, just for short term, just to, like, you know, get through this trauma or this, you know, problem that I'm having. And what's great about when we ask for help is that, you know, one, usually the people that we ask for help are so excited and so happy that we ask them. They're so willing to help, and they're being received as well, because they get the chance to actually help and give of themselves to you. So asking for help is not a sign of weakness at all. It's just a sign that you are very aware of your situation, and you know what you can handle, and you know when your cup and your plate are totally full and you just can't put anything else in there. And so asking for help, asking for the assist on a project, or, you know, at work, or, hey, can you cover for me for an hour so I can go take my grandma to this appointment, or, you know, whatever it looks like, just ask. Because 9 times out of 10, even if that person you're asking says no and they can't help you, they can say, hey, I bet so-and-so could help you though. I can't help you, but I bet so-and-so could. So when you ask for help, it really does empower you to know what you can and you can't handle. After all, we're women in construction, and some of you may have seen this before, but we are real examples of brave, empowered leaders. We are rebels. We do things differently, right? I always think about, you guys remember the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, right? And throughout the whole movie, they're talking about the Pirates Code, right? And what about the code? What about the code? And inevitably the response is, they're more like guidelines, right? Like, so we're rebels. We do things differently. We don't fit in a specific box. And we are thinking outside of the box 9 times out of 10 to solve our problems, right? So I love that we are rebels. So here's the crux of it. So we have to identify what our beast is. What is the beast for you? Is it, man, I'm really having a hard time because this person that's related to me is going through cancer treatments and it's really hard on the rest of the family. Or, I have this adult special needs child that constantly needs supervision and I just never get a break. What is the beast for you? So you need to identify your beast. What's the biggest obstacle or challenge that you are facing right now? And you may be facing a multitude of challenges, but you got to identify the biggest one. They do not all share equal weight. There's got to be one that's more important than all the others. Start there and then whittle down to, solve one problem at a time. That's all we can do. The next thing is negative thoughts and emotions. One of the things that helped me so much from going into the pit of despair when I was having to take care of my dad is that I kept a gratitude journal. And it was hard some days because my dad had cancer of the mouth. And so he had a feeding tube. He ended up with a tracheotomy towards the end. So, there was a lot of care that he needed constantly. And so waking up each day to take care of him when it was my shift with him, because my sisters and we had to split shifts with him. But going through that, starting my day, like as soon as I got up, I would get up and, do the bathroom stuff and all that. But then I would sit in my room and I would jot down at least 5 things that I was grateful for every day. And that shifted my perspective to be much more grateful to be in the situation that we were in and be grateful that I still had time with my dad, grateful that I had time away from work to spend with him. Even though it was very difficult on my personal relationships with my own children and my husband, I was still grateful for the little things. And so that really helped me to get over feeling all the bad things that could have been going through my head while I was taking care of my dad going through cancer treatment, which would result in more stress. I would go on this downward spiral if I started thinking negative thoughts and, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And oh my gosh, this is going to happen. And you just get into this downward spiral and it totally results in more stress. So you want to be sure that you're sticking with your gratitude. You also want to stick with facts and not get too emotional about things. It's easy to get overly emotional when we're highly stressed. And so you just want to try and stick with facts when you're in a difficult situation. So another thing that helped me is leaning on my values. Just from a poll in the chat, does everybody know what their values are? Just yes or no? Okay, Jennifer's yes. Diala says yes. Anybody else? Erica's yes. You know what your values are. That's great. That's awesome. Some people really don't know what their values are. And so I have a little exercise. If you guys want to play along, we can do a little exercise and it might help you identify what's really important to you, because your values can change over time, what's most important to you and things like that. So the first thing is you want to think of things that, behaviors that people do that you just can't stand. And you want to write down like 3 of those. 3 behaviors that people, so for me, I can't stand it when people are dishonest, when they don't keep their word, when they say they're going to do something and they don't do it, right? That drives me nuts. And the other one is saying it's not my job. It's not my job. So those are some of the things that I don't like. The other thing, the next thing you would write down is 3 things that when you're experiencing emotions, that when the behaviors or the emotions come out in yourself that you feel embarrassed about or you feel ashamed of. So those, what are 3 of those? And then you want to write down 3 things that, like, when you are in the zone, you are on top of your game and you are like really feeling your best, feeling confident, like you can take on the world and things. What are 3 qualities that you notice about yourself during those times? So lastly, last part of this exercise is your first 2 sets of answers. You want to write down the opposite words of what you wrote down that you can't stand in yourself and others. And then you take the culmination of the positive words that you wrote down when you're on your game and you're in the zone, and the opposite of the negatives. Those words right there are your values. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope it does. I hope I didn't confuse everybody. All right, so that's just real quick, a way to discover your values and what's really important to you. And it helps you to focus on those things instead of what's not important to you. Oh, my computer just showed. There we go. And the other thing is, what are your strengths? Again, what are you grateful for? And then use those to create a new plan. Like what's the new plan that can help you solve this unsolvable problem that you're having while you're trying to be a caregiver, trying to hold a full-time job, and maybe running a family, or, you know, whatever it is. So I'm going to stop sharing here for just a minute. I know I've been talking for quite a bit. Does anybody have any questions so far about caregiving, or do you have a specific issue with a person that you're trying to be a caregiver for that you'd like to chat about or talk about or brainstorm some ideas for help? Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going then. So, all right. I'm just checking my notes here. So the important thing is that when you're going through a challenge and you're a caregiver, that you know what your resources are. I'm not sure if anybody is maybe in a financial situation where they're going through some financial hardship, being a caregiver or things like that. But I know here in Colorado, we have a place called the Resource Exchange, and they're a nonprofit dedicated to helping caregivers be better caregivers. And a lot of what they do, they really work with, especially like adults with special needs. So, for example, my sister-in-law, her oldest son, is a special needs. He was born with Rubinstein-Tybee syndrome. And so he is actually 24. They told her when Cody was born that he would not make it past age 13, and he's 24. So that's a win right there. But again, she's always on, like always. She is his caregiver all the time. And Cody doesn't really communicate very well. He has the mentality of about a 7 or 8-year-old. And she's a single parent, so she's by herself. But what this resource exchange helped her to do was to apply for and get paid respite care. So she gets a respite person that is trained to take care of special needs adults that comes to her house for 3 hours once a week. So she gets 3 hours to herself once a week. And I think that is so important, to take a break, take a time out, right? Whenever it's needed. And so if you don't have a resource, a resource that you can do or utilize for something like that, lean on your family, lean on your friends. You know, do you have somewhere that you could maybe go, and maybe if you can't leave that, you know, your care person alone with someone, maybe someone could come over and help you at least for a little bit. You know, think outside the box to find a solution to give yourself a break. You know, Deila put in the chat, what is your go-to way to relax after a hard week? I'd love to hear some of those answers, because that's a great thing. It's important to build in self-care time when you are a caregiver. It's super important, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be your best self when you're providing care for your loved one. And a lot of times caregivers will get into the mode of, well, I don't have time to take care of me. That's being selfish. And it really isn't. Self-care is not selfish in any way. So what are your go-to ways to relax? Oh yeah. Harley ride with the wind blowing through your hair. That is a great release. Absolutely. I concur. That is great. Anybody else? Oh, going out to dinner once a week with a friend. That's awesome, Jennifer. Yes. Yes. Perfect. A float spa. I have not tried that before.
It's incredible. It's water that has a very high ratio of magnesium, so really high salt water to it. And it's only about 2 feet deep. You can lay in a pod or a cabin, a lot of times they have them as. And you're literally floating. You can't touch the bottom. You won't like sink down into it, and you fall asleep. I do it for 60 minutes at a time. You can do it for 90 minutes. I put a little summer's cap on because I like my bright colors. But you are like weightless. They say it's comparable to when you were in the womb, that gravity, no gravity feeling there, and being in space. So it gives a lot of release and relief to your joints and your muscles and your bones, just everything. It's so relaxing, and there's a lot of other benefits with it as well. So I would encourage everyone, if you haven't tried that or heard of that, I'm sure there's a place near where you live where you can check it out. They're pretty popular these days, but it's an awesome way to kind of relax, I found.
Fantastic. All right. So Cassie likes to go on a hike with the pup. I love that too. That's awesome. And Rosemary, reading a book or going out to lunch with friends. That's awesome. Fantastic. These are awesome ways to kind of relax and de-stress, right? Like unwind and just, that's one of my favorite things too. Like hang out with the girls, just, just catch up and chitty chat and talk about, laugh and giggle. All those things are super healthy, super healthy. So another thing is you want to, sit on the patio and soak up the sun. Yes. Yes. That's my backyard happy places. That's what I call it. So I'm a gardener. So one of my favorite things to do is gardening, especially in the spring and the summer months and early fall, with harvesting and all that kind of stuff. But I don't like to pull weeds. And I tell everybody, I give them the little analogy that, when you're pulling weeds in the garden, it's just like pulling the weeds of your mind, right? Like negative thoughts are the weeds in your mind, and you want to pull them. Otherwise, they take over, right? The weeds will take over. So I enjoy gardening a lot. It's very therapeutic for me. When I'm out there, I'm out in the sun, getting the vitamin D, and just nobody's bothering me, I'm by myself. So it's very therapeutic and very meditative, which is a great segue into meditation. If you can't get away and you just cannot leave the actual person that you're caring for safety reasons or medical reasons, I totally understand. But take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes. And there's tons of apps on your phone. There's Calm, there's Insight Timer, two of my favorite apps, and they have tons and tons of guided meditations that are literally 5 to 10 minutes long. And they are just, it kind of is like a, it's just a breath of fresh air for you and it's in a minute, a little tiny time out. But studies have shown that meditating even just for 10 minutes a day drastically reduces the cortisol production in your body, which is the stress hormone. And so it's really a health benefit because cortisol produces like the visceral fat that is the bad fat that wraps around your organs and things like that. And so that meditative time, just 10 minutes a day, could really be beneficial to you. That's something that I've integrated into my morning routine, is meditating for 10 minutes every day. And it's really made a big difference. And it really helps me set my intention for the day and not get spun up as soon as I start thinking about all the to-dos on my to-do list for the day and that kind of stuff. So, so just, you know, some meditation for yourself. Honestly, 10 minutes for yourself, it's doable. You can do it. You can make it happen. So, and I was going to say something and it just went out the door. But let me look at my slide notes here. All right, I am going to share this particular slide. All right. So creating a new plan, once you've figured out your values and your strengths and things like that, I always tell people that success is scheduled. I am a huge fan of a paper planner. And I put everything in there. I put when I'm going to do my laundry, when I'm going to do my grocery shopping and my meal prep. All of that is scheduled in my planner. A lot of times when we're going through a trauma or a challenge in our lives, we can get overwhelmed so easily. And so really utilizing a daily planner and scheduling it. And I don't care if you use a Google Calendar, Outlook, you know, if you prefer a digital calendar over a paper one, just use one, because you'll find that you're probably wasting time in places and that can be eliminated, which will free up time and make you feel less overwhelmed. So again, how do you start your day? I just shared that I start with some meditation as part of my morning routine, but how do you guys start your day? Do you just jump up and get right into the thick of it? Or do you take some time for yourself first thing in the morning? Communicate your boundaries and your needs. You know, when you're going through a tough time and you're providing care for someone, you can't stay late after work a lot of times, or you can't work on weekends and that kind of stuff. And so that needs to be communicated to your supervisors, your coworkers, or things like that. Or, you know, I can work on this Saturday, but I definitely cannot work on Sunday because I can't find another caregiver for my loved one on a Sunday. You know, just make sure you're communicating what you need and the boundaries that are just hard and fast for you. They're non-negotiable. And set some goals for yourself based on your values and strengths, you know, like even if it's just, you know what, I'm going to clean the house this week. Okay, great. Set some time away, even if it's time chunking, you know, you spend an hour cleaning this room, you spend an hour cleaning that room, whatever you need to do to get to that goal. And you don't have to get it all done at once. Realize that it is okay to time chunk it and do it in little pieces to achieve the goal that you want to make. Always put your non-negotiables first, and self-care needs to be a non-negotiable. Always prioritize that into your schedule and then work things around those non-negotiables. You know, mom has a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. That's hard and fast, and it's a non-negotiable. So you can prioritize other things around that. And surround yourself with only good vibes. You know, being a caregiver is hard. It is not easy. And it's really important that we take inventory of the people that we're surrounding ourselves with, because if they are a negative Nancy, and I'm sorry if there's somebody named Nancy on the on the call, but if they're a negative Nancy and they bring you down or they tear you down when you're going through a challenge, and they're just not someone you want to keep around or spend a lot of time around. So I understand that some of us have family members that might be that way. So we can't just say, kick them to the curb kind of thing. But, you know, manage the time that you're spending with the negative people in your life and spend more time with people who uplift you and support you. Oh, I'm looking at the chat. That's great, Erica. Yes. She tries to use a planner, but when she doesn't, she schedule alarms, sometimes weeks and months in advance to remind her of an event. That's perfect. That's awesome. Yes. And the last thing is believe you can. One of my favorite Teddy Roosevelt quotes is believe you can and you're halfway there. So just believe in yourself. You can handle this. You can do it. There's another saying that God only gives us as much as we can handle. I think that he gives us more than we can handle sometimes, but it's how we handle it that is really what matters at the end of the day. So when you're confident, confidence equals boldly, empowered, authentically, unique, true you. When you are aligning with your true self and you are really following the path of what's most important to you right now while you're providing care, then you're a beauty. Confidence equals beauty. And I just want all of you to know that if you're caring for someone, whether it's a child, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, or anything like that, you are a special, special person, because it takes special people to provide care for people who are sick and to stand by them no matter what, through thick and thin. And so give yourself a pat on the back, because you are a very special person by taking care of people like that. And then this is my contact information. So if you would like to chat privately outside of this session about a challenge or, you know, a caregiving situation that you're facing, I'd love to be a resource for you and try and help you through that, or help connect you to resources maybe in your area. I may not know of something, but I know a lot of people across the country who might be able to help you. So please reach out. I am here for you. So stop sharing my screen. Do we have any comments or questions or anything that people would like to share?
I would like to share, Allie. So I'm sharing on a background without children. My husband and I don't have any children. We have four-leggers. We've got dachshunds. You know, whenever considering stress management and things like that and caregiving, in my particular case, my caregiving falls into my self-caregiving and my caregiving for my husband and our home. For years, we traveled in a camper, so that was an interesting upkeep, whether we lived in our camper or in a hotel room because it was wintertime. So, you know, it's weird how the priorities have changed even over the years, over the things that, you know, were my time consumptions for, where my attention went for caregiving of things in my life. And so as the years evolve, I know that those focal points have changed as well. Now that I'm getting into my mid 30s, I'm seeing differences, you know, with things where I'm like, oh, I've never considered this self-care. You know, I need to try this lotion, whatever it may be. But as I've aged as well, my self-care has changed. And so the only things that, you know, I can share on those bases are making sure, like in my case, my husband and I have worked together for the past decade plus now. And so you really have to make sure that there's that balance where you're taking the time for yourself too, because he and I were together 24/7. And a lot of people are like, I don't know how you could work with your spouse day in, day out. And, you know, we definitely had those times and days where we didn't get along the best or whatever it may be. But it was interesting how our work life balance helped the balance of each other. So if we were having issues at home, they had to go to the side burner when we got to work because we had shit we had to get done. It was work time, you know. And then just the same, if there were maybe things where we combated with at work when we got home, we're not at work anymore. It's okay to, I suppose, compartmentalize things in life whenever it comes to that, to be able to successfully move through those different avenues in your existence. So whether it be your children, your home, your family, your work, you do kind of have to compartmentalize to be able to balance that management of the stress in those avenues. And so that's just what I wanted to share. I know I didn't have caregiving for necessarily others and illnesses and children and things like that, but just always finding your balance and knowing and understanding that that will change over the years. You got to kind of be flexible with it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that I love that. I work with my husband as well, and same, you know, we have boundaries that we had to set, you know, like just like what you're saying, work is work and home life is home life. And you've got to be able to kind of separate those and differentiate, because you can't be on 24/7, just like what you're saying. And setting those boundaries is very important to keep your relationships good. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a husband-wife dynamic either. It can be, a relationship with your siblings, or, an aunt and uncle, a mom and dad, whatever it is. You've got to set those boundaries for sure, for sure. Erica, how about you? I know you were a single mom for a while. Your son is grown now, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I want to add I know you mentioned resource. Another resource that's nationally, Catholic Charities. They offer a lot of things, from counseling to some of those resources, what you said with the caregiver. And you don't have to be Catholic, you don't have to have any religion. And they have offices, I think, in just about every state. So they have different programs geared towards different things. Also, I know some people don't know where to start to get some of these resources. A lot of times the insurance isn't really helpful. So, don't forget to reach out to the doctor's offices of the person that you're caring for. Reach out to the hospitals. Most of the hospitals have social workers, so they should be able to try to direct you, because a lot of things are hidden. There's a lot of programs out there, but if you don't know the right person to get to receive those services, you're just lost out there. So it's more of, you have to let people know what you need. Us as women, we generally don't like to ask for help, but the old saying, closed mouths don't get fed. So someone is not knowing what you're going through. And we tend to say, as women, if someone asks what you need, oh, I got it, I got it. We have to stop saying that and saying what we need. Even if you think it's something that's far-fetched out there, let your loved ones, family members, let them know, and let them have the option to say, oh, I can't do that, but I could do this instead. Think about small things. We may not get exactly what we need as a whole, but if it's something small that may chip away. Sometimes just letting people know, if you're a caregiver, you might be wiped out, but you don't want to cook. You can let your friends know, oh, we'll take a home cooked meal. Or somebody asks, oh, what can I do for you? Oh, well, this is my favorite restaurant. If you don't mind, a gift card would be great to take some of the pressure off of you. Just think about ways. We have to remember, certain people could only do certain things for us. Like for me personally, I wouldn't be the person that would bring home over the home cooked meals. I would be the person with the gift card, or I would be the person that would say, "Hey, do you need any help around the house? Clean it up. I can straighten up for you." Something like that. So we got to remember, try to put more than one option if you want help from someone, because they might not be able, they may want to help you, and that's not something that they can give. But don't be afraid to call on family and friends, because in the sidelines, a lot of people want to help, but they don't know how to help, and it's just human nature. They won't say anything, so we've got to let them know. And as far as self-care, on the plane, they tell you, pull down your oxygen mask first before you can help someone else. So that's the same thing with healthcare. You have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves also while we are taking care of that loved one. Because you can't be burned out. You won't be any good to the person you're taking care of if you're run down yourself.
Good advice, Erica. Thank you. Well, does anybody have anything they want to add to the conversation? Share anything? We've got Cassie, Jennifer, Rosemary, Tani, that's the name. Sometimes it takes a minute to get the chat going, especially if you're on your cell phone. All right.
Oh, I want to add too, don't underestimate the power of social media. In your, again, with some of the programs are very local. So reach out to your township, county, or state to ask, to inquire about some of these other programs that can relieve the pressure on you. So nowadays, there's anonymous posts. So if you're worried about people worried about putting your personal business out there, with anonymous posts, only the moderator and administrator, they're the only ones that will see your name. Just, don't be afraid to reach out. Just let people know what you're going through and you need help.
Oh, I see Cassie is taking some me time to go to the conference in August. That's awesome. I hope to meet you, Cassie. That'd be awesome.
I think the three of us will be there, right? Erica, Allie, all three
Yeah.
of us are going?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. Yeah, I hope to meet you all as well. Anybody else planning on going that's here in the chat?
Jennifer's going. Awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
awesome. We can do like a tradeswoman meetup.
Yes. Yes.
The breakout session for the Tradeswomen Committee. I think it's happening on Wednesday or Thursday. I'd have to double check the agenda. But it is in the afternoon, so I would love to meet some of you ladies in person. Maybe if you have a chance to come by and just pop in and introduce yourselves, and we can get connected. It'd be great.
And I also want to make mention, just so everyone's aware, next month our topic for the webinar is leadership and mentoring, keys to success. So I know that's happening. It's typically, we do typically the first Thursday of every month. So it'll be August 1st. That's the first Thursday of August. We didn't do the first Thursday this month, obviously, for 4th of July, but I just wanted to make sure to mention that for next month in case anybody wanted to go register and get that on the calendar. First conference. That's awesome, Cassie. This is my first annual. Yep.
I'm glad work is letting you attend. That's super awesome. So share with me what is your trade, Cassie? What do you do?
Does everyone want to share what they do in the chat? I know we mentioned when we kind of opened up, but if everyone else wants to make mention what they do, that would be awesome to kind of get to know you guys as well.
Oh, it's Jennifer's first time also. You guys make sure you participate in the first timers session. I mean, it's a good time to network and it's fun.
I'll be there. I'll go to that. I haven't gone to annual conference. Chaos coordinator. That's awesome. Okay.
I don't know if I would want that title, chaos coordinator.
You handle it all is immediately like if I'm painting a picture and thinking of, okay, self-given. Okay. I'm like, this is an awesome title. And I'm thinking you just handle all of it. Let's see, Rosemary is a construction superintendent for water utility in California. Awesome. I did a lot of piping systems for municipalities, both water and wastewater facilities for several years. I preferred the water treatment over the wastewater treatment.
I think everybody does.
I always like to add when I talk about working at municipalities and doing that a potato plant, a food processing potato facility actually smells worse than a wastewater plant. Don't ask me why. I don't know, but the smells from a potato plant were even worse somehow than, I don't know. It was interesting though. Let's see, Jennifer. Jennifer works in IT and support, the point of sale and dispatch and distribution for applications. That's awesome. Where are you guys all from as well? You guys mentioned, I don't think you guys mentioned that yet. I don't know if I did. I'm in Mexico, Missouri. I'm the current vice president of chapter 341 in Central Missouri. Stockton, Topeka, San Jose.
Oh, yeah.
A nice spread. Okay. All the way out to the old West Coast. That's great.
We're coast to coast on this Zoom here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
Well, is there anything, any questions, burning questions? Oh, Cassie's within her first 3 months with NAWIC. Awesome. Welcome to the sisterhood.
Yes.
Yes, and welcome to the Tradeswomen Committee. We definitely love having all the women that work in the construction field and industry in any way participate with this committee. It's a new committee, so especially having NAWIC's new members already joining in on this. That's awesome, Cassie. Thank you so much. Yep, trying to get as much learning in as you can. Good on you. Yep, using those resources.
And Tani says she's a systems manager in the office and a project engineer for heavy civil water, wastewater in Seattle, Washington. So awesome. Thank you, Tani. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
That's great to hear that you guys are enjoying the webinars.
Yeah. Do you all have any recommendations on topics that you would like to perhaps see in the future as well? Just to throw that out there, if there's things that you're interested in discussing or just hearing roundtables on.
Well, there's nothing in the chat now, but if you guys think of something, you just email the committee, right? Because Allie, if they email national, I don't think it's a separate email for us, but if you guys email national, they will definitely get it to the committee and we can put that on the calendar.
Yeah, Cassie, I think it's the way National sets up the webinars. Usually when we have a guest presenter or something, they don't show the gallery as much, but we can definitely maybe put in for a request that we get to see the other people's faces and things like that during our webinars. So it's a little more engaging and interactive. I know Savannah is our national rep that's on and maintaining the recording and that kind of stuff. So Savannah, if maybe we could make a note that the tradeswomen would like to be able to see the attendees and allow them to unmute and show their video so that we could interact a little better. That would be great.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that.
Thank you.
I think now though, if we have guests raise their hand, we'll be able to unmute them because
Oh,
Cassie
I
says,
I can allow, like right now, I just asked, okay, Cassie, you can talk.
Hello.
Hi.
I was looking all over the settings and like, it wasn't, am I blocked? I don't get this. So I was just typing. But yeah, I'm Cassie Long. I am technically document control specialist in the San Jose corporate office for Rosenden.
Very cool, very cool. I'm gonna allow everybody to talk if they want to. So now we can see everybody. Okay, so I just need to give everybody permission. Or we do as the Tradeswomen Committee, if we're the hosts of the webinar, we can go to the attendees list and click over there and allow, and it says allow to talk and it pops them up right there. So
Just asking because I saw your 3 videos and I wasn't sure if I was able to do that or
yeah, no, this is great. So we can have a little more open conversation now. So that's awesome. I see Rosemary's photo there. And but yeah, it's totally fine. If you guys want to, just go ahead and talk now or unmute yourself and talk because some of you are muted. But yeah, and make it a little easier to converse. Oh, there's Cassie's picture.
I just had to sign in, I guess.
Very cool. Very cool.
Is there a link for the other webinar you were talking about later this month?
So the Tradeswomen Committee, so if you're interested in being a part of the actual committee, we are having our once per quarter call, which is on July 30th. And you can sign up to attend through the national website.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to be talking about a little bit more, like internal things as a committee, like what our focuses wants to be and things like that. We are coming closer to the end of the NAWIC calendar year, which is the end of September. And at that point, Deila will be taking the reins from Erica. And she's got some exciting things planned for next year. But we always want to make sure that we're, targeting and focusing our programming around what the members want to see. And it's not just about what we want to do, it's about what is needed through the membership. So. All right.
Sorry about that, dinging.
No,
I couldn't get it muted quick enough.
Yeah. So we got about 5 minutes left. Erica, Deila, are there any closing comments that you guys would like to do since you are our fearless leaders of the Tradeswomen Committee?
no, just remember how strong we really are.
Well, thank you for all the information and motivation.
Good to hear.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, it was great having you all. And I like getting it a little more personable like this, where we can kind of open up the floor in the chat like this. It just kind of allows that round table feel to kind of flow a little better. So look forward to next month and the months to follow. I hope you all can make time to schedule this in once a month and meet up. We've got great topics that we hit on this year, and I know we've got a lineup of some great things in the year to come. So I look forward to getting to know you all more and hope that you all will come and see us again.
Yeah, and for those of you going to conference, I hope to see you in Houston.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yep. See you guys in Houston.
All right. See ya.
All right, everyone, take care. Thank you so much, Savannah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.